Hello. First, I'd like to apologize for not submitting the right format for this video. I could not figure out how to get it to record my screen as well as my face. So I apologize, and I would also like to thank you for letting me resubmit. So with that being said, let's get into it. The article, Why Are We Curious by Ignacio Morgado Bernal explains the psychological and scientific reasoning of why our brains are curious. And after thorough research, they found that there are neurons within our brains that are activated when the brain is introduced to something new. And researchers have also argued that the neurons that are activated by curiosity are different neurons than those that are motivated than other motivated behaviors such as looking for food. By conducting this research, it does not eliminate the possible factors like education, culture, and uprisings that create our curiosities. And after researching the question of why are we curious, another possible answer they found is that we are curious to cure our boredom. So with that all being said, and after I've gone over what the article is about, I would like to explain why I chose this article and the grammatical forms that can help construct it. So this article was interesting to me because as a psychology major, I believe that it's beneficial to pursue my studies further beyond the classroom, as well as a potential Spanish major, definitely a Spanish minor. I think it's important that I understand grammatical usage and forms, and I believe that this article utilizes many grammatical forms. Also, this article helped me to understand the importance of Spanish grammatical structures. So first, to begin understanding these grammatical forms, I will begin with the present tense. Here in my article, I have highlighted uses of the present tense in yellow. And the first example of present tense being used in discussing the subject of the experiment, the rats, and what they do when introduced to new things with their environment. Excuse me. I mentioned the present tense as an important Spanish grammatical construct because it has many purposes. The present tense in Spanish can be used to discuss things that are happening in time, habitual actions or routines, to make statements, and to even reference the future. So the present tense can create a sense of immediacy and creates the idea that something is happening within that moment. And that tends to be the case when using the present tense. Although within the article, I found that they were mainly using it to create a statement. So the next thing I want to highlight is the importance of the subjunctive tense. This article uses the subjunctive many times throughout. And the subjunctive is another tense that is commonly used in Spanish, if not also one of the most used, next to the present tense. But it is a complex tense because there are many purposes in different forms, such as the imperfect, the present perfect, the past perfect, the future simple, and the future perfect subjunctive. These different tenses of the subjunctive add to its complexity. So the main purpose, or so I believe, of the subjunctive is to express doubts or possibilities or the idea that something could happen. But I believe it goes beyond these limits. And within my article, I have highlighted the use of the imperfect subjunctive in blue. That can be seen here within the first sentence of the, the article. And the imperfect subjunctive corresponds with the subjunctive as a whole. And in the situation that I have highlighted, it expresses the potential action of the past tense. And I highlighted this sentence because it's a perfect example of how the imperfect subjunctive can be used. So they kind of state, like, if you come to our lab, you can see the different kind of experiments that they have done before. So the next thing I'd like to speak about is the usage of articles in Spanish. I strongly wanted to mention this because the use of articles in English is not necessarily the same as it is in Spanish. And while it might be a small detail, I believe that they carry an important role in Spanish grammar, one that they don't do necessarily for English grammar. There are two types of articles, the definite and the indefinite, and they both must agree with the gender and the number. And articles can be used for comparison, adjective agreement and position, adverbs and prepositions. In my article, I highlighted some articles in green, and I found that the purpose of most of the articles found within my article were being used for a general sense. And the next thing I'd like to mention is another verb tense that is found within the article is the conditional. The conditional tense is used in Spanish as it is in English. It expresses conditions, and the conditional can also be used to express the future and the past. And I have highlighted an example of the conditional in pink. And in this situation, the conditional is being used to express would or should. This is important in the text because they're expressing a probability. In Spanish, conditional is used within its own verb forms, and there are other forms such as the present and the conditional perfect. The conditional is important to Spanish grammar because it helps to express things that may happen within the future or things that have already happened in the past. And commonly, the conditional can be used with if clauses, and I have found that this is also the very common form for the tense. There were so many different tenses as well as just grammatical constructs in my article, but I found that those truly help shape the article and deliver the purpose of the article. And that is all.